Hello and welcome to Education and Training. The following session will support your understanding of how reflection can assist you with increasing your learning and transferring the learning to a real situation. Reflection is not merely a pause for thought, it is a dynamic process that enhances your understanding, retention and application of knowledge. Reflecting on what we have learned helps us to understand concepts more deeply, and it provides meaning to our learning. If you adopt the mindset of being honest with yourself about your abilities and focus on developing your weaknesses, then you will always cultivate improvement. Think about how you currently reflect when opportunities are provided for you on learning programs. Do you use it wisely, or do you use the time to organise yourself, go to the gym, walk the dog, or catch up with some domestic chores? I believe that modern technology has limited our natural reflection time. We're never a scroll away from our family and friends' social lives, and we rarely sit in silence with our own thoughts and deliberately reflect on what we can learn from our experiences. So don't waste the opportunities for reflection and learn how to do this constructively. Why is reflection important? This is Hermann Ebbinghaus' forgetting curve, which suggests that memory retention declines over time. Ebbinghaus conducted experiments on himself to measure how much information he could retain over time. He determined that forgetting occurs most rapidly shortly after learning. If information is not reinforced or reviewed, it tends to be forgotten quickly. But with repeated exposure or practice, the rate of forgetting decreases. This is why reflecting on what you want to learn is so important. Reflection is crucial for learning because it allows us to consolidate our learning. Reflecting on new information or experiences helps to consolidate learning by integrating it with existing knowledge and understanding. It enables you to make connections between what you already know and what you have just learned. It can deepen your understanding. Reflection encourages deeper understanding by promoting learners to analyze and evaluate your own thoughts, feelings, and actions in relation to what you have learned. This process helps to uncover underlying assumptions, your biases, and misconceptions leading to more profound insights. It can promote continuous improvement. Reflection fosters a growth mindset by encouraging you to view your mistakes and failures as opportunities for learning and growth rather than as setbacks. By reflecting on both successes and failures, you can identify areas for improvement and make adjustments to your approach. It can enhance your self-awareness. Through reflection, you will develop greater self-awareness by examining your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviours in various situations. This self-awareness is essential for personal and professional development as it enables you to understand your strengths and weaknesses more clearly. Reflective practice also promotes metacognition, which is the awareness and understanding of your own thought process. By reflecting on your learning experiences, you gain insight into how you learn best, what strategies are most effective for you, and how you can, more importantly, improve your learning skills. You may even determine that learning is a difficult process for you, and learning how to learn is the most important step in your development. Learning how to learn, in my view, is the most significant benefit that comes from reflection and assists us with overcoming barriers to learning. Many of us believe in neural myths, and we actually reinforce these ideas as it can make us more comfortable when we find learning difficult. Neural myths are misconceptions or misunderstandings about the brain and how it functions. These misconceptions often arise from oversimplified or outdated information about neuroscience that circulates in popular culture. These learning styles, for example, are now considered to be myths. It suggests that individuals have distinct learning styles. For example, you have a visual, auditory or kinesthetic learning style, and that teaching should be tailored to match these styles for optimal learning. If you describe yourself as a kinesthetic learner, it might lead you to believe that you can only learn in a hands-on way. This is not true, and we can all learn through a variety of ways. If you don't like reading and theorizing, then you will find it difficult to learn through that method. Reading and theorizing is an excellent way to assimilate knowledge, and if you find this difficult, you should begin to develop this method of learning in order to improve your overall ability to learn. Think about when you read something. Do you drift off and forget what you are reading about? This is more common than you think. Many of you have probably drifted off during this session. This is normal, and your brain is constantly trying to conserve energy, and it is difficult to remain focused for extended periods of time. There is nothing wrong with your ability to read and theorize. The problem is your ability to concentrate and remain focused whilst learning. Deliberate reflection and practicing recalling information is a very good way to develop your ability to focus. Try reading a page at a time and then recalling the information to yourself, as this will keep you focused on what you are doing and enhance your ability to learn through this method. As learning is not static, it's a dynamic process that can adapt and change over time. You may employ different learning strategies depending on the task, context, or goals, rather than rigidly adhering to a single learning style. Therefore, you should constantly reflect on how much you are learning and how you can improve that. A good tactic is to find a colleague or friend that is interested in what you are learning and then discuss the concepts and explain to them what you have learned. This is a really good way to reinforce the learning, understanding, and ability to recall the information related to the topic. The left and right brain theory. Now, this myth proposes that individuals are either left-brained, which is logical and analytical, or right-brained, which is creative and intuitive, and that this dominance influences your personality and behavior. This concept originated from the early research in neuroscience by Roger Sperry, who identified hemispheric specialization, meaning that certain cognitive functions are more strongly associated with one hemisphere than the other. For example, language processing is typically lateralized to the left hemisphere for the majority of individuals, while spatial processing tends to be more dominant in the right hemisphere. However, the left brain and right brain dominant myth oversimplifies this complexity and can be detrimental, as if you believe you are right brain dominant and therefore creative, you may believe that this is the reason why you are poor at maths, and therefore you will always be poor and will struggle with learning maths. This is simply not true. Modern neuroscience research has shown that cognitive functions involve widespread neural networks that often span both hemispheres. For instance, complex cognitive tasks like problem solving, creativity, and decision making require the integration of various brain regions across both hemispheres rather than being solely dependent on one hemisphere. Jerzy Konarski conducted research which concluded that we have various brain networks that are susceptible to neuroplasticity. Essentially, he argued that we can learn new things at any age as long as we are effective learners. Leon Festinger coined the term cognitive dissonance, which is a psychological phenomena that occurs when an individual experiences tension or discomfort due to holding contradictory beliefs, attitudes, or behaviours. He discovered this when studying a cult that believed aliens would destroy the world other than their pious group of followers. What he observed was when the end of the world did not happen, the cult members that had sold their houses, given up their jobs, and were heavily invested in the cult developed an alternative perspective, which was they then believed they had saved the planet by being so pious. The members that had not invested heavily simply thought they had been a little foolish. The lesson to draw from this is that sometimes we make excuses for our lack in performance because we want to protect our egos that we have heavily invested in. And it is not that we deliberately lie to ourselves. Our brains concoct excuses to protect us. So ask yourself, what excuses have you been making lately? Are you viewing learning opportunities as just a tick in the box that you need in order to progress with your career rather than an opportunity for growth? Do you make excuses that you don't like certain learning methods and therefore switch off when you feel uncomfortable? The first step to change this is by learning how to reflect in a constructive way and to utilize the opportunities when they arrive. If you believe that you're not any good at maths and that you're a kinesthetic learner, then you will never be any good at maths and you will have a limited ability to learn. You can learn anything you set your mind to. It might be difficult initially, but by persevering and having patience, learning will become easier and you will develop confidence and understand that it is only your mindset that is holding you back. Start this week by developing your ability to reflect. Make it part of your daily routine. Ask yourself questions. Make notes and review them. Find someone to discuss your reflective thoughts with, and then try and work out where the best place to reflect is. By doing this, you will start to enjoy the learning process more. You will get much more out of it than a tick in the box, and you will gradually grow and develop every time you have one of these learning opportunities in front of you.